Okay, I'm here now. Had a bit of a hiccup with my webcam because for some reason it didn't like choose the source right, but I fixed it now. Um, Hopefully I won't get disconnected. Have had it happen in some streams in the past. Uh, I think it happened with the last time I did, and it usually happened like around 9. Um, but it's something about like my Ethernet connection on my computer up here because the modem is downstairs. So I think there's something to do with the connection with the power line connector that I have. Um, but yeah, I didn't have a POS news stream last weekend because I was dog sitting for my mom. So we're gonna have one this week, and there's a lot of stuff to go over. Though I won't go over like every single little thing because there were a lot of trailers. Ryan Walterson put together a big list, but I won't go over everything because there's a lot. I'm just gonna go over a lot of the major stuff. Um, and I have been streaming on Twitch a bit more now because I did the Nintendo Direct reaction earlier this week. I didn't do it for the state of play though, because that was only like 20 minutes. The direct was like 40, actually more than 40. It was actually like 45 or 50 minutes, even though they said it would be 40. Um, and I watched that with Viva, and that's on the Twitch channel. Um, but now just gonna talk about that as well as like D23 stuff that came out and a few other things that I'll do like short little reviews of. Um, but yeah, let's see. I think my chat box is working. Let's see if I refresh it, and because I didn't see anything pop up for the chat box on here. Oh wait, no, it's because the layouts. Wait, no, it's above the layout. Weird. That's strange. If somebody says something, I'll see if it shows up again. Uh, anyway, I did post the media bracket for the 2000s. The 2000s like bracket fight we're gonna do. Because we're still gonna do the 2010s ones. We're just gonna record them like on the thing. Okay, there we go. There's the chat. That's working now. Um, but yeah, I have the 2000s media bracket as a pinned comment in the chat, so you can fill that out if you want to. Um, we're still gonna record the 2010s ones, and then we'll record the 2000s ones after that. And those will just be like premieres on the channel. They won't be live. But it'll be something to fun to do with the co-hosts and everything. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and go into the news stuff. So let's first talk about um Pinocchio because I watched that last weekend before I went to go uh, uh watch my mom's dog. And I watched it with my dad, and we were just kind of like, uh, it's it's not very good. It's very strange. There was like a moment in the movie where Pinocchio like literally is like skipping to school and everything, and he sees this pile of like literal horse shit, and and he says like, "Wow, I can't wait to learn about what all this stuff is." Like while gesturing to the horse shit. It's so weird. Um, Monstro looks really weird. I know, like I posted when the trailer came out. That Monstro is like, what is this supposed to be? It's supposed to be like Leviathan, like that like ancient whale. But it has like tentacles. It's very strange. Very weird. But yeah, Saber did a video on it. It's yeah, it's pretty bad. I know we mentioned in the video that there's like this blaring light that's in the town. But there's also a moment in the movie where there's the coachman scene where he's like picking up the kids from the street and whatever. Um, he has like a musical number, and it is incredibly dark. And I'm not sure if it's like the new TV that we got. But it's very hard to see. Um, and I don't know if just the lighting is just bad in the movie. Um, And then like Pleasure Island, it just seems like a little amusement park ride or whatever. Um, and the donkey scene just like isn't as like scary as like the original or whatever. It's just not a very good movie. And Pinocchio himself, I think, despite what people are saying, I think Pinocchio himself is probably the best part of the movie as far as like him like acting like Pinocchio does. Um, but yeah, the tracking's bad. Like I think Saber also said in his review that there's like no weight to the CGI characters. Um, I did like Honest John though. The way he moved and everything, it seemed like the most animated live action like CGI character we've gotten with like his expressions and stuff, which we didn't really get that from like, you know, Lion King, where the Lion King, they just had like no expressions. Whereas like Honest John looks like he has some kind of expressions. And yeah, the ending's very different. Where instead of Pinocchio being the one that's sort of just like there like face down in the water, it's Geppetto. Um, so like Pinocchio's like saving saving Geppetto with his tears or whatever, and it's said like as being narrated by Jiminy Cricket that Pinocchio did become a real boy that day, even though he doesn't look like one. So he's like became a real boy like symbolically. Let me adjust my mic here. But yeah, it's I'm surprised that they put this on Disney Plus and not theatrical. Because it seems like one of those movies they would have done theatrically. But especially with having like Tom Hanks in it, it just seems like it's strange that they wouldn't put it as a theatrical movie. But after seeing it, I'm kind of like, meh. I kind of see why they did. So yeah, it's not very good. I mean, I'm not surprised, but like I still like always give the remakes a chance because it seems like I know a lot of people like go into the movies just like waiting to hate it, and I mean I do have a bias against these movies, but I still like try to see if there's like anything of value here. But this one very much feels like, oh yeah, they're just going down the checklist, trying to renew the IP, and that's all it is. So yeah. All right. Next thing, let's talk about something I watched like I don't know if it was the same day I watched it or if I watched it the day after. But Cars on the Road. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than Pinocchio. It's a short little series. All the episodes are only like 7 minutes or so. It says 10 minutes, but it's more like 7 minutes with credits attached. It's about Lightning McQueen and Mater going on this road trip to go to Mater's sister's wedding. And there's like different road stops they go to on the way. And all of them are like very little contained little stories. But, you know, going together just on a road trip, it's just like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of pit stops. But yeah, I actually enjoyed this. Because like I enjoyed Cars 3. Unlike 2. Like Cars 1, I do enjoy. Cars 2, I didn't really. I need to rewatch it though, because I know there are like some things that are to merit about it. Not sure if that's the right way to put it. But with this little short series, I found out that Lightning McQueen is a paleo nerd. I did not expect to see that. Because like there's this pit stop where they go to like see car dinosaurs or whatever, which like that just like means like a whole bunch of other things for the Cars universe. Like what does that mean? Then if the oil that the cars use are made from dinosaurs, then what were the dinosaur cars oil made from? What happened there? Like that's like my main problem with like the Cars universe is that like none of this like it's so weird. It's like very very strange if you just think too hard about it. Um, but it's fun. And Lightning McQueen's also like afraid of clowns. Like there's like this circus that they go to, um, and that was pretty fun. There's like this episode where they meet these like Bigfoot hunters, like these cryptid hunters that are trying to find Bigfoot, and Bigfoot's like a monster truck, which I thought that was funny. Um, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good little short series. I'm not sure if they do another one with Mater and Lightning McQueen, because the whole thing is like they were wanted to like just go there in the Mack truck. Is that what Lightning McQueen wanted to do? But Mater did wanted to do like, oh yeah, let's just do like a best friends road trip or whatever. So and then Lightning like realizes like, oh yeah, it's like it's just like a fun thing to do with your friend. Um, but yeah, I recommend it. If you like cars especially. If you don't like cars like at all, if you don't like any of the movies, then yeah, you probably won't like this. If you like Cars 1 and 3, I'd recommend it. Um, but it's pretty fun, and it still looks great too because it's a Pixar like animated series. Um, all right. Next thing, Primal. This just ended last night, and I do have some thoughts about the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I'm just going to give my thoughts about season 2 overall because I know it literally just ended. So I'm just going to give like some of my thoughts about like how this season like progressed compared to the first one. And that is with this season had a much more focused plot compared to the first one. Whereas like the first one had more of like oh yeah, here's what we're doing this episode. Um where this one sort of had that at least in the beginning a little bit, but then it sort of went into this like, oh, we're going to this village and then we're going onto the sea here, and then we're like captured or whatever. Um and it had like a much more like natural progression of like a plot going on. Whereas the first season had like, oh yeah, it's sort of like a monster of the week type thing. Whereas like, oh, this episode's about these mammoths. This episode's about these like bat creatures. This episode's about the zombie the zombie sauropod. Um, so yeah, this one had like a much like more focused overarching story going on. And I'm not sure what they're going to do afterwards if there is a season 3 because the way they wrap this up, it seems like it could be a series finale, or it could be just open to like doing another thing. Um, there is one episode in here that is very different from all of the other ones because it takes place in a completely different time period, which is very strange. It seems like, oh, is this what happened to this world? Um, yeah, I think it's like episode 5 is in the chat. Um, so that's very strange. I'm not sure if that's like that has to do with what happened in this world, though. I'm not sure if they want to do if Gendy wants to do like make this an anthology series, which would be interesting. Um, as it like goes forward, or if like, oh no, this is where the end is. I am a bit conflicted on the ending though, because I feel like there was this one antagonist in season 2 that seems like he was being built up, but then it sort of ended very quickly, which I was kind of disappointed by. I was hoping that that antagonist would clash with another antagonist that Spear and Fang were facing against at that point. Um, so I was hoping that would happen, but that didn't happen. So the ending felt a little quick to me. Um, I still like the show overall. It's really great and it's animated great, and there's like a lot of great like character moments with no dialogue, or at least dialogue that you can't really understand. Um, so I still completely recommend it. It's really really great, and of course, like, you know, I love dinosaurs, so Uh, of course, I'd like this. Um, all right. Uh, Now let's talk a little bit about Splatoon 3, which I did just get over last weekend. And I was playing that while I was dog sitting for my mom. I was playing it this week, streaming on Twitch, which my Twitch is Paleosteno Plays. I was streaming it with Nesca, Tom, and Viva Reverie, and we were all playing it together, both like Salmon Run, Turf War, and like some other modes. And I did finish the single player earlier this week as well, and I really enjoy it. I played a lot of Splatoon 2. No, not a lot of. I didn't play as much of Splatoon 2, mainly because one problem I had with Splatoon 2 is that it was very weird. It was very strange how you would be able to like play with your friends. It was very hard to. It was very complicated to like try to play with your friends. Whereas Splatoon 3, it's much easier. Like you can see your friends as like ghosts in the lobby for whatever you're doing, and you can see what they're doing if they just started the game or whatever, and you can just drop in to their game, which is great. And you can also create your own like little lobby to have your friends join your game, which is like so much easier. Like I don't know why the Splatoon 2 didn't really have anything like that. It was much harder to just play with your friends like that. And this you can also like create your own private rooms too. And with Salmon Run, that's another thing. Salmon Run in Splatoon 2, which is the Horde mode, you just defeat a bunch of enemies, a bunch of waves of enemies. Salmon Run in Splatoon 2 was at a specific time during the day for whatever reason. I'm not sure why they did that or why they thought that was a good idea. I guess for the immersion, it was like, oh yeah, here's when you have to do a Salmon Run because it's like a job in the game or whatever. But in this, it's like, oh no, you can just do it whenever you want, which is great because it's a very fun mode. And there's a lot they added to that mode too. There's a lot of variety to the different types of waves there are and the different types of bosses that you have to defeat in it. And it's just very fun. I did I have almost 100%ed the single player mode. The only thing about that is that right now I'm on the last part of the secret level that is unlocked after you beat all of the levels. And it's very hard. I was surprised by how hard it was, and I'm on the last part of that, and I actually had my Switch in sleep mode because the last part of that is pretty difficult. At least to me, it is. I'm not that great at video games, so yeah, it's been difficult to me. It reminds me a bit of the final like unlockable level that is in Super Mario Odyssey. If you've played that, you know how like difficult that final level is. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of, at least, because it's also pretty long too. But there are a couple of checkpoints. It took me a long time to get to the first checkpoint. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to do this tonight. But I did it last night, getting to like the final area of that level. So I just have my Switch in sleep mode now, and I'll just try it later. And let's see. Not sure if there's anything else I want to talk about with Splatoon 3. I know I want to go back and play the Octo expansion because I started playing that, but I never really finished it. So I just played like the first like a few levels of it. I never finished Octo expansion. But yeah, Splatoon 3 is great. I'll probably stream it more on Twitch. I want to try to stream more on Twitch. I know I've said that a lot in the past, but I'd love to stream more on Twitch, and especially now that I have the little like avatar thing that Nesca told me about. I think I prefer doing that. All right. Now let's go into the Make Your Mark trailer for the new My Little Pony series coming out on the 26th. Um, so this is a very interesting trailer for a multitude of reasons. Um, First of all, there is like a big spoilery thing in this trailer at the very end. If you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say what it is here. But that has baited some people into thinking like, oh, I might actually watch the show now, because like there are some people that were kind of like put off by the premiere that came out back in May. Um, and I know people are very cautious about this show, and I'm very cautious about it too, because I love the movie. A New Generation is a really great movie. Um, but the show, I haven't really been too like optimistic about compared to the movie. And I actually do like the Tell Your Tale shorts. They're like okay. Um, but this new show, I just hope it's like written well and everything, because there's some concerning things that showed up in this in this trailer. And that's mainly to do with the animation. Um, like if the writing is good, sure, I'll forgive all that. But the fact that it doesn't look as good as like the movie, which is understandable because it's a show compared to the movie, um, but there are a lot of animation errors just in the trailer, which is very disappointing. I know that like sometimes trailers will be put together and there will be animation errors in there that are not in the final product, but for this there are some like glaring ones. Like there's a character that shows up in this trailer where her horn, she's a unicorn, and her horn completely disappears in one shot. And it's like, it's not like, oh yeah, it's a different shot where she doesn't have a horn. It's like, no, like she's talking to another character and it goes back to her and her horn's gone. And it's like, what? That's weird. There was also in the premiere, there's another character, Jazz, who's like showed up before in like the Tail shorts as well. I think it was Jazz. Jazz Hooves. She's like the green pony with the red hair. Her ears disappear sometimes. Some people think it's like, oh, it's because like her ears are down, but it's like, no, her like the hairstyle is like, it's just strange to where like her ears sometimes disappear. It's very weird. And then there's one very glaring one where a pony is taking a selfie with Sunny, and the thing is, like, she's taking a selfie, but she has, hold on, I'll have my phone here. She has it like this, but there is no phone. Like it's just like that. And then like it goes down and you can see where like it's kind of clear and it's just like transparent. It's like, how did that happen? I don't know if like things like rendered in a bad way. Because that is weird. That is very strange. I hope that things like render out correctly for when the show actually comes out, or if they've already have it done and they're like, whoops, that was a mistake. I know they were able to fix some things before with Tell Your Tale, because like Tell Your Tale actually had an animation error as well. Back in the very early episodes that came out earlier this year, where there was like an actual like sketch of the storyboard, like in the background. So yeah, I hope it's good. I know we get like 8 episodes on the 26th, and then we have the special that's on November 21st, I believe, Winter Wish Day. So I hope these 8 episodes are good and the characters are written well and everything. But if it's like okay, then sure, fine. I'll still watch as it goes on, because I believe it'll still get better as like the years goes on. If not, like Hasbro might just make another generation. We'll see, because there's always going to be generations of My Little Pony, and like also next year is the 40th anniversary of My Little Pony. Because like it originally came out in 1983. So we'll see what they have in store for that. All right, there's gonna be some other bigger news here, because there was a bunch of things that happened over last weekend, both being like D23 and a bunch of video game stuff. So let's talk about D23 first, because there's a lot to go over here. Let me bring up my document here, because there's quite a lot. Yeah, Ryan wrote down a bunch of the D23 trailers that I have here. All right. So also, I have the image that I have here is they showed off an animation for their like 100th anniversary like intro. So that's interesting, because next year's gonna be the 100th anniversary of Disney. It's crazy. All right, the D23 trailers. I'm gonna go in depth for things that I care more about, but I'll just go over like some of the trailers here. Hocus Pocus 2. I never watched the the original. I'll have to watch it at some point. That comes out September 30th on Disney Plus. Disenchanted, which I did watch Enchanted last year for the first time. I thought it was fun. That comes out November 24th. And that actually looks pretty interesting. The Little Mermaid, they showed a teaser for that, so we know what that looks like now. It's very dimly lit. I'm not sure why it looks like that. Like the coral reefs and stuff. I don't know why they look like so dimly lit. I know a bunch of other like ocean people on Twitter were talking about that. Is like, why does it look so dim? But that comes out May 26th in theaters. I know I'm gonna go see it, even though I haven't liked like any of the remakes. A bunch of Star Wars stuff like Andor, coming out September 21st, which is like next week. Then let's see, Tales of the Jedi, which is an animated short series. It seems like Ahsoka and a bunch of other characters from the Clone Wars series are going to be in that. And then Mandalorian season 3 coming out next year. Oh yeah, and Tales of the Jedi was October 26th. Willow coming out November 30th, which actually looks pretty interesting. I've never watched the original Willow. I'll have to watch that though. I know it's on Disney Plus. But it looks like a fun like fantasy show. Werewolf by Night, that is Marvel's first like special presentation. It's like their first kind of like special. It looks very oddly shot though. I know that Jim Gizriel on Twitter, he was saying that it seems like it was shot and then made black and white rather than shot for black and white. Because it's like a black and white like special that they're doing. Which it does kind of look like that, where it's like, oh no, they shot this and then they made it black and white rather than shot it with having black and white in mind. So yeah, we'll see. Secret Invasion. This looks very good. Is Samuel Jackson and in this and a bunch of other like people. But yeah, Nick Fury and the Skrull. It seems like something's going on with the Skrull. I know that's like part of the like comics and stuff, but it looks very good. It reminds me a lot of like Winter Soldier as far as like the tone of this show. Because I know a lot of people are kind of like tired of like how jokey Marvel has been, but for this it seems like, oh no, this is like some serious stuff going on. And it definitely has the like Winter Soldier vibe to it, and that's like one of the best Marvel movies. So the Secret Invasion definitely seems like it's going to be a great show. National Treasure: Edge of History. I looked on YouTube. This has like, even though dislikes, you can't see them unless you have an extension. Which if you have an extension, you'll see that this has a ton of dislikes. And I think it's because like, oh yeah, they're doing a National Treasure show, but if Nicolas Cage isn't in it, then why make it? But yeah, I watched like the National Treasure movies I like a few years ago, but I do not remember them very well. But that is, yeah. I don't see like what would be so interesting about this. It just doesn't interest me at all. Um, all right. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I don't know anything about Percy Jackson. But that's to be announced. The Santa Clauses. That's coming out this that's coming out this November. It's gonna be a series, and Tim Allen's coming back for that. He's like retiring as Santa Claus, and he's trying to like find a new Santa Claus. Um, the Proud Family season 2, or Louder and Prouder season 2. I still haven't watched the first season because I I kind of want to watch the entire series first before I watch the this new series. Um, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. This looks pretty interesting. I like the style of it and everything. And also it's got a dinosaur in it because so of course. Um, that comes out in February. Then we have a bunch of other announcements that didn't have trailers. Uh, so I'll go down the list here because there's a lot. So for live action film, had some looks, well, for the people who were there because like I wasn't there at D23. Some looks at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which comes out next year. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, that comes out in November. Captain America: The New World Order, they said like who's joining the cast with Shira Haas. Is it Hayes or is it Hayes? Tim Blake Nelson joining the cast. That's coming out in May of 2024. Fantastic Four says Matt Shakman will be directing. That comes out in November 2024. Thunderbolts, they showed like a bunch of the characters that are going to be in that. Like I saw like the Red Guardian's going to be in that. Ghost. A U.S. agent's going to be in it too. So that's interesting. But yeah, Florence Pugh, so like being like Black Widow's sister. It's going to be that. I guess she's like the new Black Widow. Let's see. From Lucasfilm, got Indiana Jones 5. Apparently a trailer was shown, and Harrison Ford is going to be in it. Saying that it's going to be the last time he's going to be playing Indiana Jones. Willow, which I talked about that earlier. That does look good. Avatar: The Way of Water, that's coming out later this year in December. Let's see. The Disney live action stuff. Of course, there's a Little Mermaid thing, but then they also said like the title of the Lion King prequel is gonna be, which that's gonna be Mufasa, the Lion King. See Disney Plus. Let's see. I talked about Hocus Pocus 2 and Disenchanted. But there's also gonna be Peter Pan and Wendy, and that's gonna be on Disney Plus next year. For animated film, we've got Elemental, which is gonna be releasing June 16th next year. That's gonna be the next Pixar movie. We don't have anything as far as like footage goes yet. We'll probably have a trailer like sometime early next year. Let's see. It says the actors Mamadou Athie and Leia Lewis are gonna be like the main characters here. Mamadou Athie. It says from Jurassic World Dominion. Wait, let's see. What is he from? Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah. I know him from Jurassic World Dominion. Okay. Let's see. Elio, which that's going to be the next Pixar film, which coming out in 2024. In spring of 2024. And this has a very interesting premise to it. Says he makes contact to aliens and gets mistaken for an ambassador for Earth. So I think that's a very interesting premise. Then Inside Out 2. I'm excited for this. I know some people were kind of like, oh no, another sequel, but I love Inside Out, so I would love to see these characters return again, especially Joy. I really love Joy in Inside Out. It says we're confirmed Amy Poehler is returning for that. Um, it's weird that they didn't confirm like other cast members. I did see like rumors that like the a couple of the characters like Fear and Disgust, like Bill Hader and I forgot who played Disgust, but wouldn't return, which is very strange. Um, let's see, Strange World, that's coming out like in November. Wish, which is the next original film after Strange World, says it's like about the origin of the like wishing star or whatever. Uh, it's very strange that like this movie's like called Wish, especially when we just had that movie called Luck from the Skydance. It just seems like a very similar name. All right. For television stuff, stuff from Marvel, we got Ironheart, Secret Invasion, which I talked about, Armor Wars, um, Loki, season 2, Echo, Daredevil Born Again, Werewolf by Night, which I had talked about. So those are the Marvel shows coming out. Lucasfilm, we got, like I said, Andor, The Mandalorian season 3, Bad Batch season 2, and Tales of the Jedi. For Disney Plus stuff, we got American Born Chinese, Big Shot, Iwaju, which is the original series from Disney Animation, which it's going to be like an original 3D series. So let's see what that looks like. The Muppets Mayhem, which is a new Muppet show. National Treasure: Edge of History. Yeah, that's the thing I just talked about earlier. Prom Pact. The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder season 2. Santa Clauses. Win or Lose. This is the original Pixar series that's coming out. It says the first ever long form series, so I guess like like a 22-minute episode thing. Their first original long series. I guess they're not counting Monsters University, or not Monsters University, but Monsters at Work. And then they showed a trailer for Zootopia Plus. But I guess they don't have that online yet. Let's see, and then unscripted holiday specials. One being Best in Snow, a Pentatonics thing, the hip hop Nutcracker with Run DMC. Interesting. Then Disney Channel, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and then Under Wraps 2. I don't know what Under Wraps is. Yeah, apparently they're doing a Disney Junior Star Wars series called Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. So yeah, that's like the whole list of stuff here. But there wasn't only just the D23 stuff. There was also the Disney and Marvel Games showcase that happened, and I watched it live as it was going. But man, they talked about a lot of games, but not a lot of stuff that was like interesting to me. And also I think because a lot of people were expecting to see stuff like Kingdom Hearts or Spider-Man or Wolverine, like those big games that people want to see. And there's just like none of that. Even though they put it at the sizzle reel at the end of this presentation, none of those were shown. Because I know that like Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine are definitely going to be shown at a Sony presentation at some point. Probably not a Disney presentation. Because like those are being developed by Insomniac, and Sony owns Insomniac. Even though like they are Marvel properties, like there are still, I would say, first and foremost like Sony games. So they would definitely be more of like a PlayStation State of Play or something. And Kingdom Hearts 4, like even though that does have very big Disney integration to it, it's going to be at a Square Enix thing. And like they only just revealed it this earlier this year, so I don't think they'll show that much of anything else, at least at the moment. At least not for the rest of this year. Maybe next year, but not like the rest of this year, I don't think. I think the most interesting thing that was shown here, there was like a little co-op game, um, that was like a part of like the Illusion series for like Mickey and stuff. That looked interesting. And the other thing that looked pretty interesting to me, even though like they flashed it for like a second, and that was a remake of the Gargoyles like 16-bit game. But they only flashed it for just a little second. So I think that'll be interesting because like they've been like going back to a lot of their older games and like bringing them up to modern platforms and stuff. So that's the other thing that I thought was interesting. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot here. All right. Now, let's talk about Oh, yeah, no, let's do this. No, let's do this one first. Okay. We'll do State of Play first and then we'll do the direct. Okay, Sony State of Play from earlier this week. So there's some interesting things here. It was revealed like this was coming out. I think it was announced at like Evo or something. But they started out with Tekken 8, which looks really good. Like visually and everything. I do not play fighting games, so I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." It's not for me though. But yeah, it does look very good. Um, let's see, what did they show after that? They showed some PlayStation VR 2 stuff. They like the Star Wars thing, and a little like D&D type of thing. Um, Interestingly enough, today they actually announced that PlayStation VR 2 will not be compatible with PlayStation VR 1 games, which is like I know is very upsetting for a lot of people. But it seems like oh no, it's just the setup is like completely different because like the PlayStation VR 2 is supposed to be like an all-in-one thing. Um, so yeah, they'd probably just have to like do some kind of like patches or whatever, or just like port them somehow. For the older games. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was that Yakuza the Yakuza game. That one looked very interesting. It's been out in Japan for a while, but it's now first being like is like being made remade and brought to the West. I haven't played any Yakuza games, but I hear they're very good. But yeah, called Like a Dragon Ishin. Um, see, they showed a little Hogwarts Legacy thing. They're like an exclusive thing. Pacific Drive, which is a very interesting looking game. I'm not sure exactly what it's about. They promoted their weird collectibles that are definitely not NFTs. What are you talking about? That was a very strange moment in the presentation. They're like, "Oh yeah, we have these digital collectibles, but we're not going to call them NFTs. They're digital collectibles." I'm still not sure exactly what they are, because it's like, "Oh yeah, I guess you earned them like on your like PlayStation or whatever." Which if that's the way it is, then that's fine. If they are like NFTs where you can actually like sell them and stuff, then yeah, that's bad. Um, because that's just like stupid scarcity things, whatever's. Um, let's see. They showed this weird like mech game that I'm not sure like what's exactly going on with that. Um, there's that other game that looks pretty interesting to me. Called Stellar Blade. That one looked pretty cool. That was like the one I was probably most interested in that like hadn't been shown before. Actually, no, they did show this because it was called Project Eve. They showed that at the last State of Play. That was back in June, I believe. Um, then they showed the new Team Ninja game, which does look very good. It looks like a type of Assassin's Creed type of game, but with the samurais and stuff. Um, Yeah, it's called Ronin or Rise of the Ronin. Yeah. And then like they ended with a big new trailer for God of War Ragnarok, which looks very very good. Um, I think that's gonna be like one of the best games this year. Just from looking at it, it seems like this is the game that the first game was very good, but the first game seems like it was just like a setup. Whereas like, oh no, this is the game. Because like with like all the environments and stuff they're showing in this and all the like the different enemies and things, the God of War Ragnarok looks very good. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to play it because there's a bunch of other stuff I need to play as well. Because I know that month, also like Sonic Frontiers and Pokemon comes out, and also like the week before, November, like Bayonetta 3 comes out. So yeah. Um. All right. Now let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. Okay. Oh yeah, we're like almost like an hour into the show. This is why I wanted to do just like these things. This is gonna be the last thing before I do like Q&A stuff. Um. So yeah. The Nintendo Direct happened on Monday. I noticed that some people were kind of disappointed by it. But I mean, there's still a lot of stuff in here that I liked. Um. I think some people just had a lot of expectations for this direct, because there are a bunch of rumors going into it, and like insider stuff, which I'm not sure if you should should like trust that many insiders. But yeah, Tuesday is what it was. Um, uh, but yeah, there were a lot of rumors for both the dual pack thing or at least like or ports of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, and also a Metroid Prime remake, which has been rumored for a while now. And it was said that like, oh yeah, it's definitely coming out this year, but I guess not. And it seems like for the Zelda thing, it seems like the Zelda thing would have been like a lock because it was said before that Nintendo wanted to uh have a Zelda out every year for the Switch's life. And there hasn't been a Zelda out this year. So that's very interesting, is that we don't have a Zelda game out this year. Because like, and you know, in 2017 is Breath of the Wild, and 2018 they put out Hyrule Warriors. Um in 2019 they put out Link's Awakening, and 2020 they put out Age of Calamity. Um in 2021 they put out Skyward Sword. Uh so this year they don't got anything. Um so it's very interesting that they didn't show like a Zelda port or something. Um so a lot of people thought like, oh yeah, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, that makes a ton of sense to put those out as like a dual pack port or whatever, but I guess not. And also the Metro Prime thing, like, man, I guess they want to try to like put that out closer to Metro Prime 4 whenever that's ready. Um, but we'll see. Well, let's just go down the list. So Fire Emblem Engage was the first thing they showed. And that looks pretty good. I still haven't played Three Houses. Though I know like a bunch of the Fire Emblems are like, oh yeah, you can start with whatever one. But it looks good. The only thing is that the protagonist looks kind of looks kind of bad in my opinion. Um, a lot of people were making fun of it, saying like, "Oh yeah, the protagonist looks like a VTuber." Um, Apparently, the artist behind this protagonist, behind this game, is a VTuber artist. I've only heard that though. I don't know if that's true, but that's hilarious if it is. So, yeah, Fire Emblem Engage. Also, I like when me and Viva were reacting to the direct, we were saying like Fire Emblem Engage, like for the Nokia Engage, and I still haven't really seen that many memes about that. I thought that was funny. Let's see, we have It Takes Two coming to the Switch. It's very nice that Nintendo had a bunch of chapters here on the direct. I'm just scrolling through it here. See, Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which is the 4th game, I think. I haven't played any of the Fatal Frame series. It's either the 4th or 3rd game. I think it was the one that was on the Wii that never came out here. Let's see. Xenoblade Chronicles got a new hero. They showed SpongeBob, the new SpongeBob game that's coming out. Something was very strange. I showed Jax this is Fist in the North Star fitness boxing, which is very, very funny. The way they introduced this was like, you're already fit, which that was funny. Instead of like, you're already dead or whatever. Let's see, Oddballers, which is some weird like Ubisoft game. Tunic's getting a port, which Tunic I played earlier this year. Tunic is very good. The Front Mission remakes are here. They announced the release dates for that, for the first one and the second one, and said they're doing a one for the third one. I've never played the Front Mission games, but they seem like a fun little tactical type of game. Let's see, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. This was the start. This was the first one. Because there's like a whole thing with this direct that people have been making fun of, being that there is so many farming RPGs. But yeah, Story of Seasons is actually Harvest Moon. Like, literally Harvest Moon. They are the company that made Harvest Moon because they lost the rights to the name Harvest Moon. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. If you ever see a game that has Harvest Moon on it now, that's like a new game, that is not the developers. It's something different, and it's completely not the same thing. But yeah, Story of Seasons is like the actual Harvest Moon now. But yeah, A Wonderful Life, which is a remake of the GameCube game, which isn't the only GameCube remake in this direct. They announced the Splatfest, which is like, what would you bring to a deserted island? Gear, grub, or fun? So it really depends on, I guess, it depends on the island that you're going to. To be practical, I would say gear, because if you bring food, that food's just gonna run out at some point. If you bring gear, you can, use that to find food. They announced Octopath Traveler 2, which looks very good. I think it looks way better than the first one. Which I did really like the first one, but there were some things that were problems about it, and they also said in the trailer that like, oh yeah, they're gonna have like, intertwining paths this time, which is very, very interesting. But yeah, I do like Octopath Traveler, so I'm excited for the second one. Then they announced another farming game, which is like, oh yeah, that was like very close to each other, like Fae Farm. And then after that, another thing for me, Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. Yeah, Theater Rhythm is I've played that at round 1 before, and it's very fun. Especially if you love like Final Fantasy music, it's a very fun rhythm game. And they're adding a bunch of other like Square Enix music in this as well. So I definitely want to play this. Had a new trailer for Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which they also did recently announce that the DLC for this game is going to include Rayman. So that's very interesting. All right. Rune Factory. Rune Factory 3 Special. Um, that is another farming game. It's a remake of a Rune Factory game. I know Hero loves Rune Factory, but then they said they're also going to do like a new Rune Factory series as well. So this is like the third one, fourth one technically if you count the announcement. For the new Rune Factory game. As far as like farming simulators. They announced a few like Nintendo Switch Online things. Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, 1080 Snowboarding, Excite by 64, Pilot Wing 64. Those are all coming out like in the next like few months or whatever, or like leading into 2023. I hope that at some point they add Game Boy games or Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, so you can actually use the like integration of Game Boy stuff with Pokemon Stadiums, the two Pokemon Stadium games. That would be really cool if they did that. I don't know like when they would announce something like that though. But I think that would be really cool if they did something like that. But then they also announced like GoldenEye is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. Which the very strange thing about this is that you can only play online with your friends using this, and not because they announced it was also coming to Game Pass as well. Though with like up-res like a 4K version of it. But you can't play online in that version. Only on the Nintendo version. I think that's the only way this would have, only the way the way this deal would go through. If like Nintendo's like, oh no, you can only play online on our version. So that is very strange, a very weird, strange like thing. They announced another Square Enix game, Various Day Life. That's another thing that was also big in this direct. Yeah, Various Day Life, which is a very strange name. Definitely has like Bravely Default look to the characters here. Ib. Oh no, wait, no. Factorio was before that. Yeah, that's like I've seen that on PC before. I don't know if it's been on consoles before. Then Ib, looks like looks almost like a Game Maker game. Like one of those indie Game Maker games. They announced Pauline and what was the other character they announced? Diddy Kong. Yeah, Diddy Kong coming to Mario Strikers. They showed Atelier Ryza 3. Now I know how to say that. I didn't know how you pronounce it, but I guess it's Atelier. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Booster Course Pass. They showed like Peach Gardens, which is like from the DS game. The DS tracks are fun. I like the DS tracks. But they announced some like other tracks with that. There's a golf update for the Nintendo Switch Sports. And then they had Miyamoto come on, which is a very very strange thing they did with Miyamoto. Because he came on, said, "Oh yeah, so we're still working on the Mario movie. It's still coming out in spring. Universal Studios Super Nintendo World in Hollywood is still being worked on. That's still coming out next year. Both are coming along great. Didn't show anything for either of those two. Then he talked about Pikmin Bloom for like how many minutes? Like 3 minutes. Yeah, he talked about Pikmin Bloom for quite a bit. Which, you know, it's been out for a while, but I guess like he wants more people to play it because like from what I understand, not a lot of people have been playing it. At least compared to Pokemon Go, because like Pokemon Go still has a ton of players. Um, but then he revealed Pikmin 4, which looks very good. I love the way it's looking, and he said that like, oh yeah, the camera's going to be like lower to the ground now, which I think is smart to make it like different from the other games, because it makes it seem like it has more of a sense of scale with how like big everything is compared to you, in the Pikmin. So I think, and that's supposed to come out next year, said 2023. I hope it does come out next year because that'll be very fun. I did play Pikmin 3 for the first time a couple years ago when it came out on the Switch, and it was very fun. So hopefully Pikmin 4 is also very fun. Let's see, Just Dance. They showed Harvestella again, which is either the fourth or fifth thing. That has like farming elements. But Harvestella probably looks like the best out of those as far as like things go, because it has like a very interesting like combat system as well. Showed Bayonetta 3 again. It's still looking great. That comes out like next month. They showed Master Detective Archives Rain Code, which is from the Danganronpa creators. I haven't played anything of Danganronpa, but when I saw these character designs, I was like, oh yeah, that definitely looks like that. It does look very interesting, and as far as like how everything's working in this game. I've never played a Danganronpa series, but yeah, this definitely looks like very like stylized and everything. Then they announced, oh boy, cloud versions of Resident Evil 8, 7, 2, and 3. Like the remakes of 2 and 3. So yeah, man. Cloud versions. I do hope that at some point, like in the next couple of years, that like the Switch gets like either a more powerful Switch or, you know, a successor. But with how well the Switch is doing, I don't know if like how long we're gonna have to wait for that. I say Sifu, is being ported to the Switch. And also Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which I still need to play Crisis Core. I started playing it like on an emulator, but I haven't beaten it. Let's see. Radiant Silvergun. I actually was excited about this announcement because it's a very good shoot 'em up game. My biology professor in college actually introduced me to this one. It's a very good one. Like if you like Ikaruga, this is like the predecessor to Ikaruga. Is Radiant Silvergun. Endless Dungeon. I don't know quite what that's about. Tales of Symphonia Remastered. That's the other like GameCube game that got a remaster in here. Yeah, Tales of Symphonia. That's the only Tales game I've played, and I didn't finish it. I've played I played through like the first disc, but then I just never went back to it. So I might pick that up at some point. Let's see. We got a little sizzle reel with Life is Strange. Let's see. Romancing Saga, Lego Brick Tales, Disney Speedstorm, and Fall Guys Season 2. So that was like a very quick thing for that. Then we got an announcement of a remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Yeah, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Which I was not expecting another Kirby game, because we just got Kirby's Dream Buffet, that little smaller game that came out last month. So I was not expecting another Kirby announcement so soon. Especially since we had Forgotten Land this year, which Forgotten Land was very good. But Return to Dreamland, I have played. My friend Tyler had it, but I never owned it myself. I played it before, and it's like one of the best like 2D side-scrolling Kirby games. And then we ended on the new like Zelda trailer, which was very short. It started out like with showing like some like I want to call them hieroglyphics, but I'm not sure exactly if you would call them that. But like some like images and stuff of like whatever's going on here. And then we have another thing like with like Link opening these giant doors and then jumping off. And it seems like I'm not sure exactly what's going on because like it seems like there's two different Links. At least from what I understand, because like there's a Link that looks like the more modern design, and then there's the other Link that has like sort of like a robe or whatever, and his like hands messed up. I'm not sure if like there is going to be some like kind of time thing going on, in this game. But that's what I'm like assuming at the moment is that there are two different Links, or there are two different times that you like travel between, like you know, in other Zelda games. But we got the title reveal, which is Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not sure why they said that they didn't want to reveal the title, because they said, oh yeah, the title is going to spoil things. That I don't understand how this spoils things. So and then we got the release date of May 12th. So yeah, first half of next year. It doesn't seem like it's going to be delayed again, because we've been waiting a while, since like 2019 when it was first announced. So I think that's going to be like the date. But yeah, it looks great. We still haven't seen like too much of it, which I'm okay with, because I don't want to be spoiled too much. I know at some point we're gonna be getting like a very big trailer, but I'm not sure if I want to see that, because like I just want to like go into it blind, like I did with Breath of the Wild. Because I did like watch like the last, I want to say the third to last trailer of Breath of the Wild, and then I didn't watch any more trailers after that. Because I wanted to like go into the game and like not like know anything as far as like the world and stuff goes. I know we're gonna be seeing like some of the same world in this, since they're reusing some assets, but the whole like sky like area and everything looks very interesting, and it seems like there's gonna be like a lot of new stuff. It seems like the reason that this game got delayed so much is because like they just maybe they just like kept having ideas and kept adding stuff. So it definitely seems like it's going to be like a much bigger sequel than we were anticipating. So anyway, that's it for the news stuff. I was going to go over some other things that were that happened the past couple of weeks, but my voice is tired. So instead, I'm just gonna put on some like relaxing like Nintendo music, while I answer some questions for you guys. So if you want to ask questions, you can either use a super chats, or just ask in the chat. I'll just answer things. Let's see. Let's try this one. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. That's Aquatic Ambience from oh, that's the remake from Tropical Freeze, right? Deli, I'm gonna DM Enigma about that later on Discord. What plot do you think Opaline will commit to in the Make Your Mart episode? Oh, I don't know, because it seems like in the trailer they're like trying to either like magic is bad to them, or they wanted magic to come back. I'm not sure like what the motivation is at the moment. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country music. I'm not sure how long I'll go on, because I've gone on, like, past an hour, which is, like, my usual time for, POS news, whereas, like, the podcast is usually, like, 2 hours. What are your thoughts on Warner Brothers Discovery canceling the new Bye Bye Bunny cartoon? Actually, there was a recent development on that, and it was from an animator that's working on the movie, and they said, like, there's a bunch of layoffs and stuff, so there's people that aren't on the project anymore, but they're still shopping for other networks to pick it up. So it's not completely canceled yet. I know the upcoming Netflix film Blonde. It's rated NC-17. I feel like I've heard that name before, but I haven't seen, like, a trailer or anything for it. I know there's also the, what was it? There's talks today about Universal and, like, Comcast buying up Warner Brothers, which I would not like that, because those are, like, two huge, like, media companies, just merging together. Because that would be, like, another, like, Disney Fox thing. Because, like, when you think Warner Brothers, you're like, but that's like a big, like, company. Have I been keeping up with Made in Abyss and will get his video game? I'll probably get the video game at some point. I'm behind on Made in Abyss right now. I think I'm like 4 episodes behind. Because I've been watching it with Hero, but, like, Hero's been busy lately. But we'll probably catch up with it this week or this weekend. So the reason the Little Mermaid movie is going to be bad is because of another generic Disney remake. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, my water's almost gone, so I might, like, just end here soon. My throat's starting to get scratchy. I haven't seen the new Cyberpunk series yet, but I've heard it's really good. The Cyberpunk 2077 Edge Runners. I hear it's like, yeah, it's like a really good Trigger animated show. Yeah, I'm just done with them. I got tricked into liking Beauty and the Beast and Lion King remake, and after a second look, they're bad. They guilt-tripped me into liking them. It's that bad. Wait, who guilt-tripped you into liking the remakes? What I want from Pixar's new show? Are you talking about the Win or Lose show? The one... The unfortunate thing is, like, I'm not very interested in the premise that they're doing, because it's, like, about, like, soccer or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I have, like, zero interest in that kind of plot. It's just me, whereas Konami's Tokyo Game Show presentation underwhelming. Could have announced a Monogram collection and didn't. Wasted opportunity. Yeah, because Konami's been, like, doing a lot of collections, like they did, like, the Castlevania ones and, like, Contra and whatever, but they haven't been doing a bunch of the other things. But they did announce that they're doing like Suikoden remakes, which is interesting. I've never played Suikoden, but I hear they're very good. But yeah, there wasn't really much else. Ugh. To do. All right. I know that the next time I do a stream, I'm gonna do a stream next Friday as well. But I think on the 26th I'm going to have POS Podcast come back. I'm going to ask the others if they're like if they won't be busy then. I know that by that point Saber will be back as well from his trip. Because Saber's been on his trip since like last Thursday, I think. But he's going to be back on Tuesday. But yeah, POS Podcast, I want to come back on the 26th. The 23rd, next Friday, I'm still gonna try to do a stream then. For POS News, just to see what like happens in the week. But yeah, until then, thanks for coming out. I'll probably be streaming more on my Twitch, as far as like doing like Splatoon stuff. I'm still trying to work on videos. I know I said I would try to have like some of my backlog stuff out this month, but I've been like slacking behind on that. As far as like having trouble having motivation. But I've realized that I want to try to follow what I'm passionate about as far as like making videos goes. And there's like a big project that's been on the back of my mind for a very, very long time, for like years. And I just never like bit the bullet in trying to do it. And I'm going to try to do that like this coming week as far as like working on it. It's probably not going to come out for a while though. But I want to try to like work on some of it this week, see how I feel. And if I feel like, oh yeah, this is going somewhere, then I'm just going to try to continue that. And I'll try to get out some smaller videos in the meantime. I know I for sure want to talk about Make Your Mark when it comes out. But also there's my my Twitch if you want to follow that. I'll probably be streaming some Splatoon 3 with friends. If there's like any like other big like presentation or whatever, we'll do a reaction to it. But anyway, thank you for coming out, and I'll see you on the next stream. Bye, everybody!